Welcome to my channel, dear learners and students. Today we are going to discuss about the demand forecasting. So this is one of the important concepts in this managerial economics and the business management. It will be more useful for the those who are studying the MBA as well as Master in Economics and Commerce. Today in this class we are going to discuss about the four concepts. One is what do you mean by the demand forecasting, and the process of demand forecasting, and method of demand forecasting and its importance. So these four concepts we are going to discuss in the today class.
And generally, demand forecasting is a systematic process that involves anticipating the demand for goods and services in future, particularly under the unpredictable, uncontrollable environment. In other words, we can say that the demand forecasting is the estimation of production and sales in the future period. In that way, demand forecasting is very useful that will enable the organization to take proper decision making on the production process, the purchase of raw material, and plants arrangement, and also the fixing the price of their product. Then we'll move to the basic objectives of demand forecasting. So we can classify into short-term objectives and long-term objectives. Under the short-term objectives, first formulating the production policies, second formulating the pricing policies, and third controlling the sales and arranging the finance. Under the long-term objectives, deciding the production capacity and planning long-term activities. In the case of formulating production policy, that refers the demand forecasting that helps to understand the gap between demand and supply. So if we have the proper demand forecasting, so we can analyze what is the gap between the demand and supply. Then based on that, we can decide how much to be produced as per the demand. The next one, pricing policy. This is very important. So the demand forecasting that helps to fix the proper price of the commodities. So as we know in the business environment, there will be a possibility of happening depression or the recession. During that period, the company they have to reduce their price to attract more demand. The next one, controlling the sales. So through the proper demand forecasting, we can control the sales through fixing the target for the short term and as well as the long term. The next one, arranging the finance. Based on the demand forecasting and the fixing the targets, we have to make sure the availability of finance for our production as well as the business activities. In case of long-term objectives, the deciding production capacity, it will be the demand forecasting that will be useful to how much to be produced and what is our production capacity based on the target we have fixed. The another one, the planning long-term activities. For example, the company they want to expand their production and the expand of business, then they have to take proper decision for the long term. For example, the demand forecast that will be useful to how much to be produced in the long term. So these are the objectives of demand forecasting for short term as well as for the long term. Next, we'll move to process of demand forecasting or steps that involved in the demand forecasting. First step is setting the proper objectives. As we have discussed in the previous slide, so there are two type of objectives we have to set based on the demand forecasting. One is short-term objectives and long-term objectives. The second one, determining the time period. This is very important. We have to stick with the time period as per the demand forecasting and the decision we have taken. Either it may be for short-term or long-term. Then selecting proper demand forecasting method. As we know, there are two different methods. One is survey method, another one is statistical method. So based on our business and our level of production, we can choose either survey method or the statistical method. Then collection of data. So this is very important. As we know, there are two different way we can collect this. One is the primary data, another one is the secondary data. So in the demand forecast, we have to use both primary data as well as the secondary data that will be more effective for taking some decision under the demand forecasting. Finally, estimating the results. This is very important. We have to interpret and we have to present very easily that will be understandable by many stakeholders in the business and the environment. So these are the steps. There are 5 steps that involves in the demand forecasting that start from setting the objectives, determining the time period, selecting the proper method of demand forecasting, and selecting data and estimating the results of the analysis we have made. Then we'll move to, as we discussed, there are two methods we can calculate the demand forecasting. One is a survey method, another one the statistical method. So under the survey method, there are two methods we can follow. One is a consumer survey, another one opinion poll method. Under this consumer survey, the enumerator or the business analyst, they will directly go and ask the many consumers that the questionnaire that involves both qualitative and quantitative data will be there. So based on their opinion, the data will be collected and analyzed for the purpose. The second one, expert opinion method. That means the survey will be conducted with the experts, business analysts, as well as the distributor of the product. So they may have the proper understanding of the business, and also they have very good experience on this field. So these are the two methods under the survey method. One is consumer survey method, another one opinion from the experts. Under the statistical method, first one trends projection method. That means the data will be analyzed through the already collected by someone. This is called, so the data may be already collected, then the data will be analyzed for our business purpose. The second one, parametric method. This is advanced from the trend projection method. Under this method, there are many parameters and indicators will be used, that including the gross national income, the non-economic factors also that included. The next one, econometric method. So under the econometric methods, there are many statistical tools and economic theory will be considered under this method. So these are the three methods we can calculate the demand forecasting under the statistical methods. Then we move to importance and demand forecasting. Why the demand forecasting is very important? One is to prepare the proper budget. So based on our demand forecast and based on our targets, we can prepare the estimating the cost and revenue in the features. So in that way, this is very useful for preparing budget of the organization. The second one, stabilizing employment and production. If we have proper demand forecasting, we can fix some certain level of production, and that will lead to the proper recruitment of the employment, as well as the how much to be produced for the future period. The next one, expanding our organization through long-term demand forecasting. If we want to expand our organization, we have to fix some long-term demand forecasting that will be useful for expanding our business activities. Then evaluating performance. The demand forecasting that will be very useful for periodical evaluating our business activities, because of without the periodic evaluation so we cannot improve our business activities.
Okay, students, thank you so much for watching my video. If you have any clarification doubts, you can send it in the comment box. So these your queries and questions will be answered in the next class. Thank you so much.